In this video, I'm rolling with Peter. Peter is making his debut on the channel. He's a 29-year-old ex-football player. I'm pretty sure it was college, but I'm not 100%. He definitely feels like a bull. I'm coming back from, I think I had COVID, and I was very sick. You know, I had a fever for a couple of days. Then I had a terrible cough, followed by a terrible cough that I'm just shaking today. And at one point, I was even spitting blood. I was coughing so hard. So now I'm back, and this is one of my first rolls, and my cardio is, it's not gone, but thank God I roll the way I do, because if I rolled like a lot of other people and really put a ton of effort into it, I would have probably gassed out in 30 seconds. So here we go. I have him in like a spider guard. He feels really good. He's only been training for, I think, 3 months, but it feels like longer. I mean, he said 3 months, but I would guess longer. But everybody learns at a different pace. I was definitely not a natural to jiu-jitsu, and I think that some people are. I always say you're either more of a striker or more of a jiu-jitsu wrestler. You're more of a grappler or more of a striker, just by nature. If you've never trained in your life, and I put you in an MMA situation, most people will gravitate towards one or the other. So, Peter is a fan of the channel. So I thought that was awesome. Also, that was my father's name. So, he's looking for the knee cut there. So I have good grips. He's trying to go easy, which I like. He is super strong. I know I say that a lot, but he really is. And he's definitely trying not to use it. And again, it's very hard to tell a white belt not to use any strength. That's something you tell a blue belt who's been a blue belt for a while. I think that's the end of blue belt when you start to realize, oh, this works with just leverage and timing. But in the beginning, you just can't comprehend it. And I was definitely one of those people. So here I'm looking to grab his ankle and like push him over, and he did a really good job of defending, actually. Here I'm trying for my typical Kimura, like I'm waiting for it. You know, I could arm drag him on the left arm, but he's doing a good job of holding my gi, so it really prevents the arm drag there. So here we go. Now he's squaring up to me, so that would give me the Kimura. Now, I've heard that the Kimura is a strongman move by Marcelo, and I always say, I don't think so. I think you could do it properly. He just didn't look into it deeply enough. He was good at too many other things. But in this situation, it's a strongman move because he's a strong man. And even when I get the grip, I feel like my arm is getting hurt, not his. Which is an interesting situation. Now, the other thing that happened is I popped my MCL. So as you could see, I'm like keep adjusting my legs because I want to butterfly sweep him to his his right, but I can't because I don't want to put my knee under that type of a kick up pressure. And I don't want to close my leg hard on the side of him. And I'm sick. Not anymore, but I was. So I'm just trying to stay calm until I can find a very obvious sweeping opportunity, but I have to give him credit. He's doing a good job of just keeping his weight low. I didn't mention weight, but, you know, he probably outweighs me by 25 pounds, something like that. I've been gaining weight. You know, I hope it's muscle. I feel thin, but my weight went up. I'm 187 now. Just 2 years ago, I was 171 as a low weight. But I started working out with weights 1 year ago, and I think that I've put on a little bit of muscle. I mean, you really don't see it. I don't look particularly different, but I feel it in my strength. My strength doubled in the first year of working out. So he has this grip on the back of my collar, and it's better than having it on the front because it's very hard to break. Now, I don't know if somebody taught him that. You know, we definitely have a good class for the white belts. So again, he's just throwing all his weight forward, and I have to admit, it's something I'm not really used to dealing with. Because most people won't give you that reaction. They'll try to pull out, try to break your legs, but he's just leaning into me. He's like smothering my face with his shoulder and everything. But the problem with that is it leaves his face wide. See, I'm looking for that butterfly sweep again, but I didn't want to put my leg under that type of pressure. So you could see I kind of gave up on it. Also, he started basing really hard. So, a bigger, heavier, stronger guy, even if he's brand new, I have to be careful with my MCL. So here what ended up happening was I just put my hand, I covered his mouth and nose. He was breathing heavy already. And when I covered his mouth and nose, he just rolled out and, he kind of gave up. But what I'm telling him and what I'm telling you is covering somebody's mouth isn't necessarily a bad thing because it shows that you're in a position where if you wanted to, you could stick your thumb in his eye, right? If you wanted to, you could start punching there and the face is exposed. So when you're passing somebody's guard, I see these type of, double under passes and stuff, but you got to realize your face is wide open. And I don't think that pass would be as effective in an MMA or street fight. Because somebody doesn't know anything is going to be raking your face. They're going to be sticking their thumb in your eye, fish hooking you because they saw it in a Jet Li movie. So I'm basically explaining all of this to him. I'm explaining, don't lead with your face. I think that's when jiu-jitsu becomes too sporty, right? Because you're just doing these passes that you're not going to do in the street. Because you're leaving your face wide open, and it really is a very vulnerable part of your body. So Pete's a great guy, and he told me he learned a lot from watching the channel, and I can tell just by rolling with him that he has. Because if he really went for it, I think I would have had a hard time. Or it might have made the openings a little bit easier. I mean, he was somewhat cautious and slow. I mean, he did a really good job. So here, he's playing guard, which I also like. So he realized, I don't want to start from the top all the time, right? I want to get something out of this roll in both directions. I think that's what he was thinking. So what I'm doing is trying to do a Torando pass as slow as I can. So you're supposed to use speed. You're supposed to use that back and forth explosiveness. But again, I don't want to strain my MCL. It's on the right side of my right knee. If you noticed, I collapsed my leg there, and I'm trying to keep the pressure off of it. And I have a knee brace on. So now I'm looking for the typical knee cut. And then when they give me the right reaction, I could take the Aoki. That's my preferred leg lock at this point. I'm not exploding into it. I don't have an ashi with my legs. I'm just showing him, and he's slowed down. He goes, oh, wow, I want to see that. So very slowly I turned. So I'm not just out there Aokiing white belts, but I am. So you get this lock when you have the straight ankle and they slip their foot. So I just demonstrated it there. You could see how his toes almost disappeared because now his foot is sideways. And then from here, I want to just turn left. See how I threw my leg over? So I want to go left and rotate his ankle. So it's not the same as an ankle lock. It doesn't attack the Achilles. It attacks more like the knee ligaments, which would get twisted and ripped. So again, I'm explaining this to him. See, even when I put my knee in the middle like that, it makes me nervous. Now, I might not look out of breath, but believe me, I kind of, it's not that I hide it. I would never be gasping for air, even after COVID, but I'm out of breath here. So there I tried to do like as much slow motion as I could with the Torando. And then when he rolled away from me, I just went to the knee on side. Here I have the paper cutter choke. And I'm holding his leg back. See, I'm kind of riding him, but I'm not riding him where I'm putting a ton of pressure and trying to make him really uncomfortable. And there, he turned away to get out of the paper cutter choke, so he tapped, which I wasn't expecting because, in all honesty, that's not really a tap there because I don't have his body immobilized. So here I'm showing I want to reach under with my left hand and grab his shoulder so that way he can't slither away, and then I go down with my right forearm across his throat. That's the in my opinion, the best way to finish the paper cutter choke from that position. And that position is a pin. And that's why pinning is so important in wrestling, and that's why wrestling translates so well to jiu-jitsu, especially no-gi. But if you want to help support the channel, I have an Instagram page, Jits over50. I also have a Facebook page, Jits over50. I'd love it if you guys gave me a follow. I post some different things on there. And or you can just buy me a coffee. The link is in the description. I also have an X-Marshall link and a Tap House link. So if you find anything on there, use code Jits over50. And I'm going to put a BJJ Fanatics link. I was just approved to sell their stuff, so I'm going to put a link on the page as well. So if you want to buy something from BJJ Fanatics and you do it through my link, it helps support the channel. If anybody else has any sponsorship offers or, want a partnership, I'm going to be making a commercial for BJJ Notes. I'll give them a little plug right now. It's an app for your phone, and it helps you document your jiu-jitsu journey, your injuries. It just keeps track of everything. So it's a great way to organize your jiu-jitsu. There's also a YouTube video where Marcelo talks about organizing your jiu-jitsu. So obviously it's important, but I don't think we think about it enough. So here what I'm doing is I'm showing the hip bump, sweep, to hip bump escape to bringing the knee back in for a guard recovery. Because a lot of times when people do the hip bump escape, they just hip up straight up and their hips come straight back down and they don't get out of the position. You have to hip up diagonally and then draw your hips out before you land back on the mat. And that's going to leave you room to bring in your knee. But thank you for watching. Please like, share, and if you haven't already, subscribe.